Hey everybody, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play Mirrorball by Taylor Swift, which is a 3-chord wonder. That means it's the same 3 chords in the same order the entire time. And since this tune is so simple, I'm going to show it to you in 2 ways. One, using a bar chord, the way that I would play it. It's a little more intermediate because it has a B minor chord in there. And the other way is just using 3 super simple chords. And I'll put a table of contents here so you can skip ahead to whichever version of it you feel comfortable learning. And since this song is just the same simple progression, you just play it like 11 times and the song is over. You know, since it's that simple, I didn't make a chord chart. Instead, on my Patreon, you'll find a worksheet for this one that'll help you work through this lesson in the same order that we do it in the tutorial. Otherwise, let's just jump right in. I'm going to start out with the normal version of this tune. We're going to use 3 chord shapes. There's a D chord. That goes into G. And we can use this G chord, or we could play a G major 7 chord like this. If you're already super good with D and G, maybe it's worth trying this way just for a bit of a challenge. As far as switching to either of those shapes, leave your ring finger down. So we're on our D chord, we leave our ring finger down and we can switch into a G chord, or from our D chord, we leave our ring finger down, our first finger goes here on the 2nd fret of the highest string, and then our middle finger goes on the 3rd fret of the thickest string. And you actually want it to mute that string. So it's good if it's doing that. That's G major 7, a bit more colorful, a bit more airy sounding, and it's what they're using on the recording. So if you can do it, I recommend D to G major 7. And then finally, B minor. And B minor can be quite tricky, you know, it is a bar chord, and that's a big thing with guitar players and with guitar students. But if you are ready for it, I have a couple recommendations. First of all, make sure that your first finger is underneath this string, touching it. So you're pressing the 2nd fret of the A string, but the tip of the finger is touching and muting that string. That way you don't have to worry about which strings to strum. You can put all your focus on getting a nice, clean bar chord. Another thing about it is it actually comes from the open A minor chord. So a good way to practice it is play your A minor with these 3 fingers. Save your index, you know, and just noodle around a little bit, going maybe from A minor to E. Then you take that A minor shape and you go 1, 2, and that's where your B minor bar chord comes from. Ultimately, you will want to practice your transition from G to B minor, because our B minor chord is sandwiched between 2 G chords. That's the only switch we'll have to make to B minor, is from G to B minor. Practice it a whole bunch. You could even practice silently switching it first, just to get your placement. And if you find that you are ready to start tackling bar chords and you want a little bit of help, I have a course, Barre Chords Made Easy. I'll put a link to that down below. You know, and it just kind of gradually takes you into it. You know, what we've already done right now is like super fast paced compared to what we do in this course. We just break it all down. So if you're interested, please check that out. There's a link down below. Otherwise, we have our 3 chord shapes. Let's take a minute to practice them, you know, switching from D to G, from G to B minor at your own pace. And when you're ready, we can play downstrokes only, counting them out just to make sure we can play each one the right number of times and, you know, change with the beat. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want more practice with this, I recommend loading up the recording and just doing that with the recording. Even though they're playing the strumming pattern, you just downstrokes only and try to keep up with the chord switching. That's a really good opportunity to practice it. Since this song only has that one progression, you don't have to worry about like, what do I do when it changes to the chorus? Do the same thing, just keep playing the same progression. And it's a really effective way to practice. So I recommend doing that if you still want a little bit more, just 1 or 2 run throughs of the whole tune. That's like 7 minutes of practice and you're going to get way better at those switches. Anyways, if those bar chords are a bit too much for you right now and you're not ready yet, totally fine. We're gonna take a look at 3 other chord shapes that we can use to play this song in pretty much the exact same way. The one difference is using the chords I'm about to show you. If you want to play along with the original recording, you're gonna need to put a capo on the 2nd fret. And there are musical reasons for that would take far too long to explain right now, but we're going to do it without the capo for this lesson. But later when you go to play along with the recording, put a capo on the 2nd fret or else it's going to sound really weird. Anyways, our first chord shape is going to be a C chord. From C, we switch to F. And notice I'm playing an easier version of F. This is actually an F major 7 chord. And when I switch, I'm leaving these 2 fingers down, my index and my ring finger. I leave them down, I move my middle finger over to the 2nd fret of the G string, and then I put my pinky on the 3rd fret of the D string, just underneath my ring finger. So move that finger and then add your pinky, and then try to get your thumb lightly touching the thickest string to mute it. And the highest string, if you can, have it open. You can always do that just by changing the angle of your wrist a little bit just to open it up. Make sure you're not grabbing the guitar like that and muting it. Then we have an A minor shape, and we can leave our index finger down and then put those 2 fingers down to complete our A minor shape. So we leave our first finger down the entire tune. Just watch. And that's great because you can just pivot off of that finger the entire time. Your chord hand can feel where it is and it'll be a lot easier to be accurate. It's always hard to make blind switches where there's no common finger or nothing staying down. So this is a great opportunity to work out those 3 super common, super useful shapes. And if you find that you do need a little bit more help with the basic shapes, I also have a complete beginner's course as well as my free ebook. The course goes much more in depth, but they both go over the same general stuff, the fundamentals of strumming and chord switching and all those little things that you need to do to make it happen. I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. I just want you to get really good at the simple stuff. And then that'll eventually develop that foundation that you need to rely on in order to play all the things that you want to play. It all starts there. That's what I do with every one of my students. That's why I made a course out of it. So please check that out if you're interested in getting a little more help with shapes like these. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and practice these chord shapes using downstrokes only, counting along just so we can switch with the beat. Starting off on C, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Cool, so now that we have the chords out of the way, let's take a look at the strumming pattern. It goes like this. I'll do it a little bit slower. 3 And that is the most common strumming pattern ever. And I've already gone over that in its own video, so I'll put a link to that down below. But let's just take a quick look at it. We're going to split it into two parts. First we have down, down, up. I'm just going to mute the strings here. Down, down, up, 3, 4. Down, down, up, 3, 4. So that's the first half. And the second half is 1, 2, 3, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3. When you put them both together, 3, 4. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. So on beat 3 there, I'm missing. I'll do it super slowly. Down, down, up, 3, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And if you're still having trouble with that, like I said before, I have a free lesson down below that goes over it, as well as my beginner challenge and my beginner's course. So I have a few resources that you can work with that'll help you develop your sense of rhythm from the inside out. You know, a lot of people get distracted by the concept of down and up strokes, but rhythm starts way before that. You know, like piano players don't do down and up strokes, but they still have to have rhythm, right? So that's the kind of thing that I want to help you develop if you are having trouble with this. Anyways, we have our strumming pattern. Try it out over each of your chord shapes, you know, just at your own pace. Just try it a whole bunch of times on D, a whole bunch of times on G, and so on. And when you're ready, we can put it together with, we're gonna do the normal chords, D, G, and B minor first, and then we'll do it right after with the easy chords. So you can just skip ahead if you're doing the easy chords. Otherwise, we're gonna do it with D, G, and B minor right now. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 times on each. And you can use a regular G chord here as well. Cool, now we'll do it with the simplified chords. So C, F major 7, and A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's pretty much all there is to it. You know, you just take the strumming pattern, put it together with the chord progression, you play that 11 times, and the song is over. The one thing that you might want to consider is the difference between the verse and the chorus. And in this case, the difference is in the dynamics, or how intense or loud it is during the verse versus the chorus. This song's kind of reversed. Normally the verse is like the quiet part, and then the chorus is where all the intensity happens. But in this song, it comes down for the chorus, and we can address that simply by strumming softer. You know, so for the verse, just give it. And then for the chorus, going a bit softer. Or you could even go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So do that 2 times on each shape. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all downstrokes really softly. You know, so you'd be playing the verse. And then we're going into the chorus. So I'm just doing little strums. And let's pretend we're going back into the verse. Back into the strumming pattern. You know, so that's another way that you can do it. But ultimately, all you have to do is just kind of calm down during the chorus a little bit. Don't slow down, but calm down. Get a bit looser, a little bit quieter, and then during the verses, bring up the intensity. This song is great practice for developing that essential musical skill. You know, and the best way to do it is just try. You know, just be like, I'm going to play quiet all day today, and then tomorrow I'm going to play a little bit more intensely. You're going to develop that ability to feel it out. The other thing I noticed when listening to this recording is the second chorus at the very end, that final G chord or F chord, depending on which version you're doing. We're just going to do 1 strum on beat 1. So in the second chorus, we'd be playing through our progression. And let's say this is the last G chord coming up. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back into a verse. You know, so there I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum it on beat 1, but counting out 2 measures. That means counting to 4 2 times. You know, the fact that this song is so simple in every other way, it's a great opportunity for you to focus on those things, because a lot of the time that's what stops people from being able to play through the entire song or what have you, is because of those little tiny musical events that seem complicated, but once you work through them, it's really easy to just go like this and count along. Once you're used to it, you know, at first it'll be tricky, but after a while it'll be one of the easier things compared to all this other crazy stuff we can do on guitar. Anyways, that's how you play Mirrorball by Taylor Swift, both using a bar chord and then using simplified shapes. If you need any help, I have a ton of resources. I have Barre Chords Made easy to help you out with that bar chord. There's my complete beginner's course to help you with all the basic chords, chord switching, developing your rhythm. I have my free ebook, which has a lot of good stuff in it. And I also have that worksheet on my Patreon that'll help you navigate through this lesson and work on everything. If you need any extra help, please let me know, in the comments or email me. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.